everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Another of our payroll cases, and today we'll be looking at our HR and payroll integration. It's great to have you with us today. I'm pleased to say I'm joined by a trio of our payroll experts. I'm with Julie, who's our MD of Payroll. Welcome, Julie. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We've got Paul, who's our Senior Product Manager. Welcome, Paul. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. Very well, Listen.
Amazing. And Amanda, last but not least, our Sales Manager. Welcome, Amanda. How are you?
Hi, yeah, I'm really great. Yeah, thrilled to be showing our amazing products to our customers today. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks for your time and being with us today. So here's a quick look at our agenda before I hand over to our panel. I'll share a little bit about Ciphr before we'll dive into Ciphr Payroll. That's all what we're here to see. We'll talk about our journey to building this payroll product, the product roadmap, the plans we have for future developments, and of course, a demo of the HR and payroll integration. And we have time to answer your questions at the end. So do get involved, say hi in the chat, and send in your questions using the Q&A panel. This is being recorded, and the recording will be emailed to you afterwards. If you're new to Ciphr, here's a quick look at all the services and software that we offer. We really do have a solution for every stage of the employee lifecycle, from recruitment and onboarding through to payroll, of course, central HR solution, as well as newer additions to our lineup, such as e-learning content, benefits, and our new analytics solution. We won't be going to all those today. Today, we're really just looking at the integration between our payroll software and the HR software. So if you would like more information about any of those, you can find out more on our website, that's ciphr.com, or you can email us at info@ciphr.com, and our experts would be thrilled to help you out. And with that, I think I'm handing over to Julie first. Is that right, Julie? Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Catherine. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. I just want to start off by talking about Ciphr's commitment to payroll. This is really important. So, we've got lots of payroll customers, and it's really important that we future-proof the products for our customers. So the reason for that being, we believe that every single payroll professional absolutely deserves technology that's future-proofed. And what does that mean? Well, the way the payroll industry is moving technology-wise, it is moving to true cloud solutions, because the world of work's changed and people can work now from any location. Some are hybrid, some are remote, some are even overseas. And that's okay, provided that you've got a true cloud payroll solution. And one of the biggest challenges that's always been around in the payroll industry is moving data from one system into payroll and then back out again into a third system. So API integration is a real requirement to solve a big problem. So what we've been doing in the background is working very hard to deliver for our customers a true cloud payroll solution that's actually API by design. And what that means is, before we even think about building a screen that a payroll professional would use, we build the integration APIs first. So it is a true API-led solution, meaning we can connect directly into HR platforms, workforce management, finance systems, expenses solutions. And that just removes the need for people to be using CSV files and doing exports of data and imports of other data. The payroll solution is also real time. And what that means is each time a piece of information hits the database that impacts an employee's payslip, it updates in real time behind the scenes. So, there's no buttons to hit to calculate payroll. Your payroll's always in a constant state of readiness. And not only does it update the payslip, it updates all the reports, all the files that come out, the RTI, the BACs. But it just means that people's time isn't spent sitting, waiting for things like a report to run or a payroll calculate to run. And we've been working really hard to make sure that we can remove the need for manual intervention to calculate complex rules. So we've got some really sophisticated pay element definition functionality as well, which is just making our customers' lives an awful lot easier. So how did we get there? Well, this started back in May 2024, where we acquired Shape Payroll. And then we took Shape Payroll off the market and invested heavily in mid-market functionality developments, which Paul will come on to talk about. And then in February this year, we launched the product, rebranded as Ciphr Payroll, because we like to keep things simple here. We have Ciphr Payroll, we have Ciphr HR, we have Ciphr Benefits, etc. And this month, we're launching our HR and payroll integration. Now, this for me has been possibly the most exciting development that we've done, and we've done lots of exciting developments. But the reason being is HR and payroll really kind of struggled to control data and the data flow between HR and payroll. So I'll give you some examples. So it may well be for some organisations, because of the technology restrictions, HR have a cut-off date where they can no longer enter any new data into the HR system because we've we've hit the payroll cut-off date. And then something last minute happens, like Julie's had to change her bank details really urgently. She lost a bank card. Well, you just want that one change to go through. Now that at that point is creating kind of extra human effort, because HR have to contact payroll, either payroll input that into the payroll system manually. And it just gets really quite frustrating when you just want to put that one transaction through. So that's one example. Another example where integration gets tricky is if you don't have cut-off capability in your product, that then means that HR have to sit and stack a lot of administration changes up until payroll's complete. And then they have this really heavy admin burden at the end of the month. So with those two scenarios in mind, you know, that the payroll profession talked to us about, this is what led to I can only describe it as a beautifully designed integration, which we're going to come on and show you shortly. But before we do that, I'm just going to hand over to Paul to talk about the exciting development work that's happening.
Thank you very much. Yeah, in terms of our development roadmap, as Julie said, we've been working on a number of exciting developments. One of those being the HR and payroll integration, which we'll go on shortly. But before we do go on to that, it's probably prudent to show you all what we've got coming up. But before we do, we are finalising certain mid-market features at the moment. So these will be going out the door very shortly, and which will include things like back pay and average holiday pay, things like this. But in terms of what we're working on at the moment, the integration is obviously at the forefront of everything at the moment. So as Julie said, we are launching the integration. We've done the hard bit, and we're just finalising the payments and balances side of the fence. So that'll be coming out the door very, very soon. We're also integrating with a new venture by CIPP called Quick Learn, which will give you the opportunity to access short courses. Julie, I don't know if you're going to come on to that later, but we might be able to send some information out about that at a different time. Following what we've got in flight at the moment, we have also got a number of things in the planning stage that we're going to move on to. One of those at the top of the list is a further iteration of our integration, which is going to be the absence module. So this is going to include not just sickness absence, but parental leave, i.e. maternity, paternity, and so on as well. So that's really going to round off our integration suite when it comes to the HR and payroll and passing of data. Everything else we've got on the list there are key developments that will really help people out. So we've got compliance season coming up, so all the legislation changes will be coming very shortly, and then we can move on to other aspects of key features within the product, such as Alabaster, multi-post, pensions returns as well, which we're enhancing, and then putting some AI into the products as well to save those mundane tasks. And the piece at the bottom of the in-planning stage, which is very exciting, is the opportunity for an earned wage access integration. Is something that we certainly have been hearing lots about within the market. So we're going to have a solution to integrate into earned wage access as well, which is very, very exciting. Following that, there are a number of things under consideration at the moment as well. We have got a benefits platform within Ciphr, so we're looking at the integration not only between payroll and benefits, but HR and benefits as well. So all three will be tied in together. And then we're considering things like pencing of payrolls, payroll bureau capabilities, because a number of customers would like that facility, and also holiday pay accruals, which seems to be coming up an awful lot as well. So as you can see, we've got a lot in planning and a lot coming up, which is incredibly exciting. But probably the most important topic, which we can move on to now, is the HR and payroll integration demo. So I'll hand over to Amanda to take you through that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Paul. Right, so I'm going to share my screen with you. So just a second whilst I set that up. Let's take a look at the magic together. Okay, so I've logged into Ciphr HR. Hopefully this dashboard is familiar to some of you here, so that we can walk through the steps that we would take if you were just using this as like business as usual. I'm going to go straight into the dashboard so that we can take a look, and then I'll tell you a little bit about some of the reasons for the design that we've come up with. So in this area, we can see that I have two payrolls that I have integrated. So we can see that those are the ones that I'm working on. We can also see some closed payrolls. So it's really important as a matter of like audit and control that we can see what changes were made and which payroll, which pay date those actually fell into. So if I go into my closed ones, you can see all of my previous weekly and monthly payrolls, and we will also be able to see any of the data changes that occurred in those pay periods. So audit is really important. Now I'm going to go into one of my open pay runs. So I'm going to go into my salaried payroll. So when we're looking at this dashboard, the first thing that I want to draw your attention to is that lovely big button up on the top right-hand side there, the synchronization button. So this is a really key part of the design of this, and it's really increased the usability of the API integration. So it could have been that we just turned on an API and the data would just be flowing from HR to payroll. That sounds good in theory. In practice, our customers said, no, it's going to come to a point in the payroll cycle where I don't want to get changes coming through anymore, because I'm checking my reports, I'm doing my balancing and reconciliation. And if you keep sending me changes, then because it is a real-time calculation, my reports are going to be changing before my eyes. So the payroll manager would have the control in this area to say, pause that synchronization, and then HR are still able to continue doing their business as usual. So they can still be doing new starters and leavers. They can be updating salaries. There might be future dated things going on. We need HR to be able to get on with their day job. So I'll take you on a walk through this dashboard so you can see some of that in action. So on my dashboard here, we can see that I've got 6 paused changes. I've got success. So 48 changes have already gone through because I had the synchronization turned on earlier. So I did have some fabulous changes just all coming through, but with that audit tracking, as we mentioned. So it might be that I'm coming to finalise my payroll, but I'm just going to check back in here to see if there's anything that may be urgent and needs to come through. So I can see I've got 6 pause changes. So I'm going to come into my data changes, and I can spot straight away that there are some salary details that are waiting there. So if I have a look at the full details, I can see actually that is a new salary that's effective from September. That employee is probably going to be expecting that change. So I can come back to the dashboard area, select that, and force the synchronization. So by transaction, I can choose what I want to accept into my payroll. It might be that you want that all of the time, so that you can be, checking those data changes before you accept them. They should be approved and ready for processing because of the approvals processes that are already in the HR. But again, it's going to be up to you how you choose to use this area. So we can see also that we do have a change in progress now, so that's on its way over. I could turn on synchronization, and the whole lot's going to go. So this is what I'm saying. It's completely with you in your control as and when data changes go across. Okay. So I want to show you how we can get a starter to be added to those changes. So we're going to go back to the employee records area, and I'm going to look for a lady called Liz Hemingway. So Liz, there she is. So I know Liz is one of my new starters. Her record is already set up because we've invited her to the onboarding and so on. So if I go into the employment details area, we can see that there's a place here for me to select and say which payroll she's going to belong to. So we can pop that in there, click update. Now when we go back to the payroll management dashboard, straight away I'll be able to see on my employees, I've got an eligible employee that's ready to go across. So again, I can check this. I can see the start date. She is eligible. So we can see that, please excuse my demo data dates, but we can see that, really she should be paid. So again, I can select an individual, hit synchronize, and that's going to go across to my payroll. Okay. So hopefully you can get a really good feel for how you can manage those changes. So I'm going to go across into the payroll software now so that you can see some of those changes coming across. So just going to swap over to the next tab here. So this is our cloud payroll solution. You can see we've got a really fabulous dashboard here that's allowing me to manage multiple pay frequencies within a single PAYE. I can see the status of my HMRC submissions. I can see how much I'm due to pay the revenue. So again, some really handy stuff that I can see absolutely at a glance. Right, let's go and have a look at these employees then. So if we move across here, then we should find Liz. There she is. Now, being that Liz is a shortened name, of course, HMRC only want full names. But we can see now that Liz's data has synchronized across and it's created a payroll record. So I haven't had to do anything to make that come across. There's her bank details and her salary. Okay. So because I've got the pay run already open as well, I can go into my current run. We can look for Liz again. There she is. And we can see that her gross to net pay is calculated instantly. So that's all completely hands-off process. The system has absolutely taken care of that data and made sure that my new starter is paid. So really powerful stuff. Okay. So one of the changes that also came across, if I just pop back to the payroll management dashboard, is that I had a salary change. So I'll just show you the data change that was successfully passed across. So we've got a couple of changes here that we can probably track. So there are some bank account details changes. We can go and have a look at Amanda's record to see that. And there are some salary changes as well. So Richard, Graham, Carlton. So let's go and have a look at their records. So if we go into here, down to the bank details, and we can see there's that change. Okay, so these are pretty much instant changes. So let's go to his name, Carlton, into the pay record, and we can see that there was a new salary, and actually that was a mid-month change, so that was effective from the 15th of September. So if I go across to his pay record now, and we can see that we've also got a mid-month change. Okay, and we can see the way that the system has calculated that mid-month change. So I've got a 260 days method set up, and it's telling me how many days it's done at each rate of pay, so that they've got their pro-rata pay. Okay. So that's a little bit of that handling of the various data changes that are coming across from the HR, dropping into the payroll system, and the payroll system knows what to do with those changes. You know, it's acting on those, it's updating the gross and the net and the pay records for those employees. Okay. There might be some people on the call today who have not seen our payroll software before. Normally I would run through like an end-to-end demo. I just want to show you a little bit of that so that you can see some of the other really great stuff that Paul and his team have been putting into the system for us. So the normal sort of run through that I would take you on would be to show you some of the setup background so that you can see how configurable the system is, and again how much power to the payroll manager we give, because you know, this is completely within your control to add things and update your own data. So for example, the pay elements. So within the pay element settings, and I've got one set at the top here, we have recently added holiday pay calculations. So let me show you the settings that I have in here. So this one I've set to say whenever this allowance is paid, rolled up holiday pay is also it should be paid on that value. So it might be that you've got a casual or a 0 hours worker and that you are paying rolled up holiday pay to them. You can determine the percentage that's paid at. Some of our customers pay more than 12.07% if it's an enhanced scheme. And we can tell the system where we want that to drop into. The other method that we do have for holiday pay calculations is a 52-week average calculation. And again, it's such a hot topic for nearly every conversation that I'm having with customers at the moment, is the automation of holiday pay and compliance. Not only have you got to pay it, you've got to prove how you've done it as well. If you were having an inspection, you would need to be able to say, yeah, well, these are the values that we came to, and this is how we came to them. Again, giving you the ability to say which elements of pay are included or not in that 52-week calculation, that's completely within your remit. Okay. Pension scheme settings. So we do have a direct nest integration with the for the pensions. So for joiners and for contributions, just click of a button to do your reporting. and a wide range of other pension schemes that we've already configured the layout. So for each of these schemes, we can determine what the contribution group is, what those default contribution rates are, but also, again, giving you the flexibility to be able to change that by employee. The letters are there as well. So if you do need to do the mandatory letter, lots of pension schemes, pension providers do this for you already, but you can do this from our system. I almost spoiled the big surprise then. This is absolutely hot off the press. We can support occupational sick pay schemes. So you would be able to set up multiple schemes within your system. And for each of those schemes, you can set up multiple service breaks. So many of our customers, again, you might have, like, for the first 3 months, which is a probation period, they don't get anything. But then for lots of different service breaks, there might be a different number of days full pay and half pay that you pay for each of those. So we are now able to fully automate that as well. Let me show you a little example of how the calculations come through when we have somebody who is sick. I've got one down here, Diane. So Diane has been off for a week. So we can see that the system has calculated that she's only due half pay. So we've deducted the full pay period, paid it as 5 days at half pay, and you've got the 2 days SSP that's been paid alongside that. So that's all going to come through to the pay slips as well. So really great information for the employees on the pay slips, which we hope will help to reduce the number of employee queries coming through to the payroll office on payday. Okay. I just want to show you that holiday pay working. So if we add a payment, obviously you could be importing this. I'm just going to give it a different description. Maybe that was a additional allowance. Well, let's pay them £100. When I hit save, we should see 12.07% of that is £12.07. So you can see, again, we've got the description on the pay slip, and it's really clear the basis for the holiday pay. Okay, I can go to the pay slips and run that too. So there's Amanda. Let's run a pay slip just to show you that that information doesn't come through. As those changes come through, nice big net box. Okay. It's lots of reporting that goes along with that as well, so that we're able to, if I run a pay elements report, we can see all of those individual pay elements. If I hit description, it's going to order that for me, or I might want to see that by amount, for example. All of the reports will export to CSV and Excel, and we can also provide you with a full journal breakdown. Okay, and you'll be able to configure that for your account codes and cost centers. Okay, so for our overall payroll cycle, we can see that permanent changes are absolutely being driven by HR as your central source of truth. That's where we should be gathering all of the changes for our payroll, the majority of them anyway, and then we can update any variable pay. You can upload that. You can import it from third-party systems like time and attendance systems, for example. And every time you make a change, the system is updating the gross to net. So you've got a lot of flexibility in there to work right up to your final cut-off day and get as accurate as possible a payroll by payday. Okay. So there's our summaries. We can complete the pay run now. We can send our RTI submissions. We can run the bank export. and send our pensions contributions files. And then that's the end of your payroll cycle. The pay slips, of course, if you are a Ciphr HR customer, the pay slips will be automatically published back to the employee self-service, so that the employees can access their pay slips and P60s all from one place, and also mobile optimized as well, of course. Okay, and that will be the end of your payroll cycle. Okay, so I'm going to hand back now to the team for the rest of the presentation.
Thanks, Amanda. That was really good. We've been answering questions as we've been going along. But I just want to check we haven't missed anything, because we've got some questions in chat and some in Q&A, which is fine.
Okay.
So, Siobhan, I answered the pension question in the chat. So when Paul was talking about public sector pensions and returns, that's our next phase of what we're moving on to. So that will cover off NHS, LGPS, TPS and civil service pension schemes. And on the NHS, yes, it will absolutely include the ability to be able to flag pensionable and non-pensionable hours. And I think we missed one in the little flurry of questions that came in all at once, which is from Nikki. If using managed payroll, would we be able to have sight of the payroll in this way? So, Nikki, if you were using the Ciphr Payroll Bureau, you would have a login to the payroll system, which enables you to have a view-only overview of each of the payroll employee records. You have a dashboard which shows you where your payroll process is currently at. And that's where you go and grab all your payroll reports for check-in and where you approve your payroll. Okay, Kelly's asking if we've got time, and I think we have. Could we talk a little bit around the reporting functionality? And with payroll and HR integrated, could that make gender pay gap reporting easier? I'll probably hand that over to Paul.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So just to answer your latter point, yeah, gender pay gap reporting is historically a problem when it comes to having separate HR and payroll systems. That is something that we have got on our roadmap, that we are looking into to get up and running by April of next year, which is when it's going to be required. So that's certainly something that we've got coming up, and certainly looking into it at the moment. When it comes to the wider reporting functionality, I think there was another question further up about the combined data reports as well. This is something that we're looking into at the moment, just because it primarily suits our analytics platform, where we can draw in data from both of the systems. So we are in talks about that at the moment, to cross over the reports, so you don't get you don't get a duplication of data. Everything's in one place. So the reporting is certainly something that we're looking to enhance as we go forward with the integration.
Thanks, Paul.
That's all right.
I think a new question might have just come in. Oh no, that was
Just Kelly again.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions, anyone, please send them in now, because we'll reach the end of the broadcast naturally. I was just going to ask one question about if anyone was interested in moving to the Ciphr Payroll software. How straightforward is that process to do it? Because often moving payroll provider is quite a big undertaking, and it's definitely not done lightly.
That's a really good.
That's a loaded question for Amanda, really, because we've talked about this recently.
Yeah, sorry, I know, and I'm sitting here looking at Julie and wondering if Julie wants to take that one. But yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, it's a conversation that we're having, active conversations with customers, about that, and I think, essentially, it is an implementation. So, we're very risk averse when it comes to your payroll. We need to know that everything's going to be working for you, to give you that confidence to go live. So 2 parallel runs are still an absolutely standard part of our implementation model. Just stepping back from that a little bit, you've seen today how the Ciphr HR solution absolutely loves to give data to the payroll. So we can use that as kind of like as your diving board into it, that it's going to share data directly from HR, so we can start to populate the payroll solution from your HR. And also, if you're using one of our other payroll solutions at the moment, then our very, very clever data team will be able to extract your payroll data and the history, and so that we can populate your new system, and then we can reconcile that data, and so that we can get you prepared for those 2 parallel runs. So there's going to be a lot of work going on to get your data, to configure the payroll with you. There'll be a lot of training so that you're self-sufficient and you know what to do with that. And so a lot of workshops as well, sort of configuration workshops, and then of course the reconciliation of the data. So we are actually really happy for you to go at any time of the year. A lot of people wait for April. You don't need to. It's we're doing implementations and live payroll launches every single month of the year. So please don't be concerned about timing. And we'll fit with you. It might be that you've got seasonal things going up and down, and we need to fit with your availability as well. That's absolutely fine. As I say, we've got a really great implementation team who are just working on payroll implementations all the time, so they can really help to allay any fears you might have about moving those systems over.
Thanks, Amanda. And I just dropped a link in the chat to a webinar we did a couple of weeks ago with one of our implementation consultants, Kahini, talking about that process. She loves a June go live, I think it was, that she was talking about. It's not quite April, it's not quite the autumn, it's just kind of the sweet spot in between.
Yeah. Well, so that's because you can start your first parallel run in April with a 0 balance, and then second parallel run is May, and then go live June. It's a real sweet spot.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. I think we've come to the end of our questions for now, but obviously we're here offline as well if you want to talk to us outside of this broadcast. Here's Amanda's email address if you have any further questions, or if you want to take a further demo, you want to dive into any of the functionality a bit more, you can reach Amanda directly, and her email address is on the screen. Also, at the end of this webinar, you'll be invited just to take a quick survey to give us your feedback. You can also use that feedback form to indicate if you'd like to find out more about any of the solutions we've talked about today, or indeed any of the other solutions that we offer. We'd be happy to talk you through them. So thanks everyone for your attendance today. We really appreciate it. Thanks Paul, Amanda and Julie, my payroll dream team, as usual, for talking us through the world of our payroll software. I always really appreciate it. And we hope that we will see you again at another Ciphr webinar soon. So take care. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.